What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Legends of Tomorrow Season 2, Episode 9, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Because instead of Ark of the Covenant, they're saving the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's funny. It's a good title. So, apparently my Tuesday nights were not busy enough because after Bones decided they didn't want to do Thursdays anymore, they wanted to do Tuesdays. Legends of Tomorrow has also decided we don't want to do Thursdays, we're going to go Tuesdays. So, as if watching The Flash, NCIS, Bull, Bones, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. were not enough, now we've got Legends of Tomorrow. So, this is the return for the second half of Season 2, and pretty much exactly what I wanted. It builds up for the second half of the season. I know pretty much what the storyline's going to be for now. And on top of that, Rip Hunter is back. So, a lot of interesting things to talk about. First of all, talk about the end of the first half of the season. I'm going to be honest, it was probably my second least favorite mid-season finale. I say second least favorite because Supergirl was worse, because it was just so dull and boring. And on top of that, it was on crossover week, so I wanted more crossover. Anyway, so this one, yeah, it was a little bit, I don't know, it just didn't leave an impactful memory in my mind. Like, The Flash, I remember Iris's death. Like, him traveling to the future, all of that happened. It was a lot to take in. Even on Arrow, which hasn't had a great season, they end with Prometheus just torturing him, forcing him to kill Felicity's boyfriend. That's an impactful memory. Legends of Tomorrow is like, oh, they got the medallion, and then there's Rip Hunter. It's cool to see Rip Hunter. That was the only thing I remembered from the first half of the season. That season finale, or mid-season finale, that's the only thing I remember is, oh yeah, Rip Hunter was there at the end. You know, he was making a movie about Rip Hunter. That's about it. So, I wasn't really sure what to expect coming into it. I wasn't sure if they were going to spend more time with, like, trying to get Rip Hunter back, or I truly did not know what to expect. Well, as it turns out, they're searching for the Spear of Destiny, which, in this world, the Spear of Destiny is still the one that pierced Jesus' side, but apparently this one has the ability to alter reality completely, which is apparently different than a time aberration, because that one can be fixed if you travel back in time. This one is like, it's done, like it's permanent, you can't change it after that. So that's kind of an interesting theory, but we find out that Rip Hunter has apparently been guarding it. We see what happened to him after the Wave Rider was attacked. He grabbed the time drive, and that apparently, like, sent some sort of electricity through his brain and caused him to completely forget everything, and yet he can still somehow remember everything at the same time. Like, this is the one thing that I don't understand about this episode. If he truly did forget everything, then why did he make this movie all about himself and the adventures his team went on? Like, I don't know, it just seemed weird. Like, oh yeah, I just had all these ideas, and oh yeah, you guys kind of fit those ideas. But it's not real, it's not real. Clearly, dude, like, you remember some of this stuff, or else you wouldn't have come up with the exact same adventures you guys went on last season. And it just seemed strange to me that he didn't remember, but yet he did remember. It seemed counterproductive. But we see Malcolm Merlyn and Damien Darhk are trying to get a hold of him so they can get the Spear of Destiny. We come to find out that apparently his, I guess, assistant director, or I'm not sure how they were related, but is George Lucas. I find it kind of interesting that they decided to include him on this. I'm not sure if it was kind of paying homage to him. You know, he pretty much was the hero in this episode, because we find out after the attack on Rip Hunter, he decided he didn't want to be a movie director anymore, and so he decides to leave. And because of that, he doesn't make Star Wars, he doesn't make Indiana Jones, which apparently inspired Ray to become a scientist. So he created the Atom suit. He gave, what's his name? Steel, but that's not his real name. Why am I blanking on his name right now? It'll come to me eventually. Hayward. Haywood. Nate. Nate is his name. Wow, I can't believe I forgot his name for so long. But yeah, Nate apparently was inspired to become a historian because of Indiana Jones. So two of our main heroes are now no longer heroes because George Lucas didn't make those movies. So yeah, it's kind of, really building George Lucas up like he's amazing because our heroes wouldn't be heroes without George Lucas. Maybe a little too much. At some point, when they're in the dumpster and the walls are closing in, which kind of clever the way they set that up. So, oh, that's how he came up with the Star Wars scene. But they're in the dumpster and, Nate doesn't have his powers, Ray doesn't have his suit, and so they're talking to him like, you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you're going to become a great director and great writer and make all these great movies. And it's like, okay, guys, like, I understand George Lucas made some great movies, but can we also remember he made some not so great movies as well? So it's not just him. Of course, if you think about it, maybe this is what led to him thinking he's so great that he decided to not take any advice at all on the prequels. So maybe that scene in the dumpster actually means a lot more than I think it does. Huh. Interesting. Anyway, but yeah, it was a little bit on the nose with as far as, oh, you're such a great director. It's like this show wanted to be like, hey, George Lucas, you're great. But yeah, it was kind of fun just seeing George Lucas as a younger person. I've seen a couple interviews and they did okay with his character. And it was also it was fun to see them talk about the movies. I know it's a little bit weird just because I like to think about the DC comics and all that stuff. I like to think about it like outside of our world. Like Supergirl feels like it's set outside of our world. Just how everything's set up, the aliens, the DEO, all of that. They're in a new city, completely national city. And yet, you've got Cat Grant first season talking on The Talk because it was on CBS. And so there were moments like that that kind of took you out of kind of the feel of it. You're like, oh, wait, this is set in our world. I didn't feel like it was, but now they're saying it is. These shows on the CW, The Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow, they all feel like they're set in our world, but I know that the cities that they're living in are set in our world. So it's kind of hard. I have to catch myself and my thoughts. And so seeing George Lucas and hearing them talk about Star Wars and Indiana Jones and all that, and even a Howard the Duck reference, it's hard for me to process. I'm like, wait, okay, so they are in our world, but they're not really because some of these cities don't exist. Where's the continuity? Sometimes the continuity is not there, but it's not a huge deal. It's just something that catches me from time to time. But I think the most interesting part about all of this, though, is just seeing how everything sort of plays out at the end. We see Eobard Thawne shows up at the last minute, but then Rip Hunter steps in and he's just like, I finally feel alive. And I'm just kind of like, he's bluffing, isn't he? And then he pulls the trigger and it's like, click, click, click. He's like, oh, how does this thing work again? I'm like, yeah, he was bluffing. Which, by the way, he can do an excellent... I'm not sure if he's an American doing a British accent or if he's British doing an American accent. But either way, both of them are really good. So I like how he changes his voice. But it's interesting to see Rip Hunter truly not be Rip Hunter. He's somebody completely different. So when they kidnap him at the end, he's in for a lot of pain, but yet you also know that he's not going to tell them because he doesn't know. He's not Rip Hunter anymore. So I just seeing that the bad guys now have Rip, and then seeing our team kind of just broken because of this. They finally get their leader back for a little bit just to find out he's not their leader, and then he gets kidnapped by the bad guys, and it's got to be hard. And I think it's interesting to see that we end the first episode back into the second half of the season, and it's just kind of a depressing episode to think about. Things go wrong. A lot of things go wrong. So I don't know I kind of know what to expect. I see going forward they're going to be getting the different pieces of the Spear of Destiny. I'm not sure how Rip managed to hide all of that because he still had the spear, I think, in his hand whenever he grabbed the time drive. So I'll be interested to see how he managed to spread the pieces of the spear, probably throughout time, I'm guessing, because that's kind of the point of the show, is to travel to different time periods. So I have a feeling that we are going to see them going to another time period to get these pieces of the spear. I just hope that they have a good explanation for why the spear got split up and went to different time periods. Because, as far as I can tell, he didn't He didn't have time to do that while he was grabbing the time drive. So, yeah, it's a good setup. Obviously, the action is still really good. Couple of maybe a bit cheesier action scenes in this one. Just a couple where it's just like, oh yeah, you didn't really hit them, obviously. And coming from the same universe as Arrow, I expect the fight scenes when it's hand to hand to be really good. So the fact that it was kind of fake looking at times was a little disappointing. So overall, I would say while there are disappointing moments and some moments that are a little too on the nose, I still really enjoyed it, and I'm still really looking forward to it. It's a show that even though it's had a couple episodes where I'm just like, well, I have some problems here and there, I still say it's my second favorite show just because it's still got an interesting premise. I mean, time travel itself can hold the show for a whole 2 seasons, in my opinion. So the fact that the minor details are just kind of tripping me up every now and then isn't really enough to cause me to say, oh, this show is awful. But I am interested to see if they are going to start picking up some of the problems that I'm noticing, if they're going to start making changes here and there just to fix some of those. I don't know, maybe, hopefully. But for now, I'm looking forward to see where it takes us next. So, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Let me know, we can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Legends of Tomorrow, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.